Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. So in this video we will see about curing of concrete. So I'll be explaining what is curing, what is the purpose of curing, what is the minimum time period for curing, and also we will see the types. Followed by what is curing of the concrete. Before I tell you how I define curing, we see uh, one has to remember that curing has plays a very vital role in development of strength because if you do not do the process of curing, you may end up with low gain of strength, and you may end up with low durability. So one has to remember that there is something called stiffening and also hardening of concrete. So as the concrete sets, it requires more water, and once it is moving to the process of hardening, it may require more amount of water because the concrete may lose its water. See, when we are making concrete, we add water along with the water cement ratio, with some water cement ratio specified. But as the concrete moves towards the processing of hardening, due to various reasons, the concrete may lose its moisture. So when the concrete loses its moisture, the hydration may not be complete. Hence, hydration is not complete. Of course, the strength would not be complete. So for this, we have to additionally supply water to the concrete, what we technically call curing. So how do we technically define curing? So concrete is kept moist until the hydration reaction in concrete completes. This process is called as curing. And we can also define curing as the process in which the concrete is kept moist to protect it from the loss of moisture due to atmospheric temperature and also hydration reaction. You see, here we are talking about hydration reaction because you can also check out my video on the topic hydration of cement in the concrete technology playlist. So hydration is where the chemical reaction between cement and water takes place, and we all know it's a exothermic reaction. So it releases a lot of heat. Due to that, the water also can get evaporated, so hence the concrete may not get sufficient water for the hydration to complete. And the last definition for curing goes as the process of controlling the rate and extent of moisture loss from concrete during hydration. So you people can learn any of the definition according to your comfort. So finally, one has to understand that curing is the process of keeping the environment of concrete or the surface of concrete moist. And as I've told why to do curing just a couple of minutes ago, I have explained. So one thing is that when the process of hydration is taking place, it's an exothermic reaction. So once it's an exothermic reaction, a lot of heat is coming out, which means that the water can get evaporated. Due to that, the hydration may not be complete, the concrete can become dry out, the concrete becomes dehydrated. Hence we have to hydrate the concrete, and to finish the hydration process and not the hydration process to get interrupted, we need to add water. We have to supply water from outside so that the concrete is moist and it acquires the maximum strength possible. And procedure for curing, we have different methods of doing curing, which I'll be explaining in the next couple of minutes. But one has to remember that the water what we are using for the curing should not be less than 5 degrees centigrade, because it may lead to cracking and failing of the concrete. And one has to also remember that you cannot do alternating drying and wetting of the concrete, because it also may lead to concrete. So we just use water for curing the concrete. And one has to also remember that whatever water we are adding for the mixing, the same water has to be used for curing. And the water which we use for mixing is a potable water. The same potable water can be used for curing as well. No sea water or sewage water is allowed for curing process. And if you observe this graph, how much time period we need to do the curing process. So one has to remember that for the concrete to acquire its highest strength, it is 28 days. That's why we decide the 28 days strength of concrete as the grade of concrete. So concrete requires minimum 28 days to acquire its strength. So therefore we it's very good that if you do up to 28 days of curing, if you have enough or excess water with you. Otherwise, one can observe from the graph that almost concrete is achieving 50% of its design strength when it is cured up to 7 days. And if you cure up to 14 days, you get 75% of the strength. And if you can cure up to 28 days, you can get 90% of the strength. So it's very clear that once the days increases, as the age of the concrete increases, strength increases. So what is a specific time period So anybody can tell vaguely, if I keep curing more, I'll get more strength. But what is the specific time period? So according to IS 456 2000, that is, which is the code used for design of reinforced concrete structures, this code specifies that the concrete should not be cured less than 7 days. Any concrete, if you are curing less than 7 days, you will not get the required strength. And it should not be less than 7 days if you are using OPC, and it must be at least 10 days if you are using any mineral admixture in combination with the cement like fly ash or GGBS, or if it's a blended cement like if it's a PPC. So for OPC, not less than 7 days, and for PPC or mineral admixture addition, it should be at least 10 days, means not less than 10 days. And suppose if it is a hot weather condition somewhere in the mid of May like that, and the temperature is very high, then the curing should not be less than 10 days for OPC, and should not be less than 14 days for adding admixtures or blended cements. And the so whatever I have shown in this slide is according to IS 456 2000. So it is not that you can restrict yourself only up to 14 days. You can do more curing if you have enough amount of water available with you. And as I've told, the curing time or the period of curing depends on the following factors, like how much strength you require, and depending on the grade of the concrete you adopted, and also the temperature condition. Because if it's summer season, as I've told, most of the water gets evaporated, so at that time you require additionally more amount of water. Forget about the process of hydration, even water can evaporate because of the summer. So at that time you require more water, so at that time you need to add you do more amount of curing. And also it depends upon the size and shape of the concrete member. Is it a beam or a slab or it's a column, like that. So we will quickly move into the concrete curing method. So we have the first one. Now you can see the figure itself, it is showing, and maybe you have observed this kind of curing somewhere in your lifetime at least once. So it is called as ponding. So what is ponding? We adopt this method for concrete slabs, floors and pavements. So we try to make ponds on the concrete surface, and we store the water in the small ponds, and this is done continuously for 14 days. Moving to the second one is wet coverings. As you see in the figure, maybe this also you could have encountered once or twice in your lifetime. So this is basically done for column-like members. So wet covering, as the name itself says that um, we cover the concrete member with a kind of wet cloth or a wet kind of material. So this is adopted basically for columns, as I've told, footings, and sometimes the bottom surface of the slab where you cannot do ponding. And we take impermeable coverings, and most of the times you observe gunny bags. People wrap gunny bags around the column and they do the watering, so that the gunny bag absorbs the water and it stores for a longer time. And that gunny bags are not removed, so up to 14 days they keep spraying the water onto the gunny bags, so it acts like a covering, wet covering. And followed by the next method is the next common method what we generally people observe is a sprinkling method. So you just take a hose pipe and you start watering the concrete surface, as everybody know, or with the help of bucket and water you start pouring water continuously, or you sprinkle water, or you spray water continuously on the concrete member. So it is basically most of the times used for slabs. And but one has to remember that when you're doing the process of sprinkling, your concrete should be sufficiently set. Set means that it should lose its plasticity, otherwise your concrete may spill off. And this method of sprinkling can be also adopted for vertical surfaces and sloping surfaces. Somewhere when you have something like embankments, there the process of wet covering and ponding is not possible, so at that time we can take the help of sprinkling method. So this, maybe this also you have seen so many number of times. Next from here comes little new ones like membrane curing of concrete. So membrane curing is adopted where ponding is not possible because of very high atmospheric temperatures. Like when you have high degree of temperature, ponding water evaporates very fast. So at that time we cannot adopt this ponding technique. So where we adopt the membrane curing. So one has to remember that process of curing is what? Keeping the concrete surface moist, right? So why are we doing the process of curing? I told you, because concrete water loses because of two reasons. One could be due to atmospheric reasons, one could be due to the process of hydration. If I am able to stop the water not to get evaporated from the concrete, then my water is sufficient, right, for the strengthening. So in this curing, what we are trying to do is that we are not allowing the concrete water, the water present in the concrete, to evaporate. We are not allowing the loss of moisture from the concrete surface itself. So for that, what I need to do, I have to cover the concrete with the help of a membrane. So I will be sealing the concrete member or the concrete surface with the help of an impermeable layer, so that my water in the concrete will not get evaporated, and hence my water will be sufficient for the process of hydration. And this process is generally performed by brushing or spraying a curing compound on the concrete surface. So you see in the figure, this is a membrane curing, and generally the curing compounds what we use are synthetic resins, acrylic resins, wax resins, etc. If you have, for metro pillars and all, this kind of membrane curing is generally adopted. And moving with the steam curing, so this is a new one. So steam curing is adopted for precast members. So precast members are those which are already casted at a place, and then they are brought onto the site for fabrication. So where you have like girders and flyover girders, etc. There the concrete is a massive structure, and for that structure we do steam curing. So for steam, as you all know, steam is like a heat water or a heat moisture that is sprayed on the concrete surface, and so that the water inside the concrete will not get evaporated. But this works on the technique that when there is heat, like steam, it's not overheated steam. When the temperature is high, the hydration process gets faster, so thereby your hardening becomes faster. And the next kind of curing is a very new one, which is by infrared radiation. So this kind of curing is generally adopted for cold climatic regions where you do not have proper sunlight and more amount of sunlight for the setting of the concrete to take place. So we send infrared radiation to increase the initial temperature of the concrete. Once the initial temperature of the concrete is high, the hydration process would be fast, thereby ending up with faster setting. And this is better technique than steam curing, but if you should have enough amount of money, because it's a costly technique. And most of the times this infrared radiation technique is also used for hollow concrete members. We try to insert heaters into the hollow member of the concrete. If it's a hollow column or a hollow pillar, we try to insert the heater inside it, and this heater has a capacity of emitting around 90 degrees centigrade of temperature, and then the curing takes place. And comes the next one is concrete curing by electric current. This is a new technique. Here we try to send voltage into the concrete, so we try to maintain a potential difference between 30V to 60V in between electrodes. So we take the help of two electrodes or two plates, one is placed at the top and one is placed at the bottom of the concrete surface, and then we try to pass alternating current, that is AC, into the concrete for curing. And one has to remember that this is one of the fastest technique of curing the concrete. It is said that the curing attained by concrete at 28 days, that strength achieved by concrete at 28 days by using a normal water curing, and if you see the strength achieved by the concrete by doing a curing with an electric current, can be achieved within a span of 3 days. So 3 days of electric current curing is equal to 28 days of water curing. So you can see here two electrodes are placed, one below and one above the concrete surface. So that's it about curing and the methods of curing. Hope you all understood the video. Thanks for watching.